Facebook. It's Gerry coming to you from Rythmia Life Advancement Center in beautiful Guanacaste, Costa Rica, in the town of Hacienda Pinilla. It's a beautiful, beautiful morning, as almost always. Every Monday seems beautiful. I'm excited because we have now macaws are coming every morning and flying around the place, which makes it super, super cool. Anyway, who are we? We're Rythmia Life Advancement Center. We're a life advancement center that uses plant medicine and metaphysical teachings, yoga, meditation, food, to bring about this change that we call a soul merger, that in days past, in times past, they used to call it a soul retrieval, but it's a soul merger, and we've gotten quite good at it. And by quite good at it, over the next few weeks, we will see our 10,000th guest. And of those 10,000 guests, 95.59, so that's 956 out of every 1,000 report they receive a life-changing miracle during their stay. We're the number one customer rated resort on TripAdvisor as far as percentage of five-star reviews. Yeah, it's a wild place, and it continues to get more interesting and more interesting. Last week, Dr. Drew was here. This week, Taita Juanito Chindon is here, and that's always a super energetic week. We're full this week. Paya is next week, and Paya is the week after that. We're full. It's really, the energy is crazy, and the healings are beyond imagination. The healings that occur here are beyond imagination. This little Facebook Live is called Life Engineering number 6, and I talk about certain things about what it really is to be conscious in regards to creating our future, engineering our future. And sometimes I say things that people pay attention to, and by pay attention I mean that they ask further questions about it in either DMs or private messages or emails or texts or WhatsApps. And I said some things over the last couple of weeks that certain people found interesting. One of the things, and I'm going to talk about two of those things today. So one of the things that makes it easier to get from where you're at to where you're going and more enjoyable during that trip is the ability to make up your mind quickly and keep it. So make up your mind quickly and change it slowly. And because that's a part of engineering, right? So if we pick from the right place, we are using daily positive prayers, and we make decisions and we don't change them. We stay in this. This is how we get to fulfillment. This is how we get to manifestation. This is the key to all things. Because if we change our mind every day, we're going to run into problems of false starts. And when I say every day, I'm talking about it's like to not change your mind, right? To stay in this and to keep going. How do you do it? Well, the key to it is to constantly know what's important to you. So listen. So when I do my engineering, and I create my positive prayers, which is one thing that's already manifest, I give thanks for, and the other thing that has not yet come that I'm thanking for. So if I have 10, 5 of them are here and 5 of them are still in the astrals and have not descended yet, have not materialized yet. But because I'm praying them every day, those things are forever in my mind. So let's say that I'm praying for a promotion, or I'm thanking God for a promotion that did not happen yet. The moment that something shows up in my awareness that can lead to that promotion, I take advantage of it. I don't have to think, because I know what's in my prayers. I know where I'm going. So anytime that a road, if you think of it like electricity, anytime a strand of electricity gets there, I'm on it. So I already know how bad I want it, what it will cost, how do I get there. So by doing that, by knowing where I'm going, and then being aware of anything that leads me closer to that, in taking it, I have the ability to make up my mind quicker than almost anybody I've ever met. Well, that's not really true, but most people with a business background, men and women alike, can do that. They can make up their mind quickly because they know what they want. They do not get caught in indecision. So, and that leads to the next little talk about this. So, by being dogmatic in my prayer, and by dogmatic I mean I get up every day and I do it no matter how I feel, no matter what's going on, no matter, so that is fresh in my mind all the time, where I'm trying to get rythmia to what those things are. And anytime that there's an energetic strand that heads towards that, I say yes to it. And I don't change my mind. I don't change my mind. Because that, unless I have new data that says that that strand is going the opposite direction, then I change my mind. So you'll find people that use positive or affirmative prayer, spiritual mind treatments in the way that I do, make up their mind quickly and change it very slowly, very slowly. So, so that's one of the keys to this thing. And I just want to keep getting into the detail of the keys. So last week when I was talking, I talked about being both feet in, and I think I created a lot of confusion. So how do you stay both feet in? How do you, if you're in a relationship, if you're in a business, if you're in something, how do you stay both feet in? Well, that's a twofold thing, right? The first is training. So what do I mean by training? So it's easy to get caught up. Let's say that I'm in a community and I made the decision to create this community, and then some days something sneaks into my awareness that says, too bad you did that. You could have been doing this, or there's a different option, or there's a different this. In my training, I turn that noise down and I go back to my desire to have that in the first place. In my training, which is all awareness. This is all about awareness. And by the way, this is why manifestation is hard. Manifestation is not easy. If it were easy, when you walk down the street in California, everybody would be driving a Rolls Royce. Everybody would be have a jet plane. Everybody would have this beautiful relationship, a great business, wonderful family, da 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 da. Manifestation is hard is because 99% of the people get it wrong or don't do it enough. That's right. It's hard. Last week, I had a lot of people comment that, oh my God, that's hard. It is hard. Where we create frustration is if we think it's easy. If we think it's easy, or we set ourselves up to think it's easy, because it's hard. It's hard stuff. It's incredibly rewarding and fulfilling stuff, but it is hard, right? So how do I stay both feet in? Number one, training. So training, I caught that emotion. I caught that desire to be somewhere else. Let me go back to the original desire that was the stimulus that I wanted this manifestation over, and connect and reconnect to it. That's number one. Number two is feeling versus doing. So this is a really touchy subject, especially in the spiritual community, because it can lead to something called spiritual bypasses that will constantly keep you from what you really want. So feeling versus doing. There is not a day that at some point in that day, you're not going to feel like doing something else. There is not a kid in the United States who's practicing piano that at some point in that day wishes he was playing soccer, or she was playing soccer, or they were doing something different. There is not. So what we got to do is we got to get around feeling versus doing. And then people say, well, it should feel good all the time. And I'm telling you, no way, no possible way. There is nothing that should feel good all the time. It's impossible. So a lot of times in society now, with ease becoming the primary objective, it's going to keep a lot of wonderful things from happening, but it also is going to give a greater advantage to those who can put ease to the side and put doing in front. So just remember this: feeling versus doing. You know, there are days here at Rythmia after I've talked to 10 employees, 15 guests, my girlfriend, my mother, my kids, and I see a guest, and I know I would rather not talk. But I also know that I have to select doing over feeling for the better of the collective, and that's it. I want to be I want to be a beneficial presence to me and that person at that moment. I have to put doing over feeling, and there's other things that help in this process. I'm going to tell you, because this is something that is learned, right? This is a learned thing. It's easy to say, I'd rather have an orgasm. I would rather have a pizza. I would rather take the day off. I would rather not work out today. I would rather not call my mom today. I would rather not be nice today. I would rather fucking a million things. And what we got to do is we got to put the doing over the feeling, because there are always days you're going to feel tired. You're going to feel sick. And this is very similar to making up your mind quickly and changing it slowly. These two come from the same source, right? But they're both imperative to getting ahead. The other thing you can do to do it is to get in too deep. What do I mean by get in too deep? I mean this. A sense of obligation and duty will help with doing versus feeling all day long. A sense of obligation and duty will help with doing versus feeling all day long. And here's what the thing is: the transference of contentment from feeling to contentment from doing and feeling an obligation is a beautiful transfer. It's a transfer from me to we, from I to us. And these are the things, because this is the thing that makes you universally happy. Long-term happiness, long-term contentment, long-term truth. Anybody that doesn't understand this has never had a child that cried at 3 a.m. This is the sense of this is obligation and duty over my feeling. And boy, if you can get into it, it is the key to all things, because I like to bite off more than I can chew. It keeps me honest. What do I mean by that? Rythmia is much bigger than anything that I can handle. But it keeps me honest. It keeps me up every day. It keeps me looking at it. It keeps me trying to improve it, because so many people are dependent on it. That is a sense of obligation and duty. And I want to tell you what, in our younger community, the lack of sense of obligation and duty is making for a very difficult and trying time for young adults. It is. And I know that sounds like an old man thing to say, but it's very, very, very true. So the longer you put off the obligations of life, the more that you can stand in this never, never, and actually go backwards instead of forwards. Blessed is the person that has obligations. Blessed is the person who has duty and fulfills it. This is the thing. This is the thing, because the one thing I can tell you, the more dutiful and the more I fulfill my obligations in the right way, the more that I'm worth. And I mean that as far as net worth, and I mean that in worth to the others around me. If I want to be a beneficial presence on the planet, I have to understand duty and obligation. Without an understanding, without a liking, and a lot of people, this is something that actually from the car business, right? Is that I remember when I was a kid and I was looking at a Camaro, and it was brand new at a Gene Lispy Chevrolet dealer in Pittston, Pennsylvania. I was looking at a Camaro that I could not afford, but I ended up buying it, and I ended up having a monthly payment. And I remember going home and saying to my family, "Hey, I bought a car and I have a monthly payment." And my grandfather was pissed off at me, because he didn't believe you shouldn't buy anything that you didn't have cash for. And yet that obligation of making that monthly payment made me work harder, and I somehow got to keep that car, right? So what I'm going to say, this sense of obligation, this, or the lack of, it's going to be hard for you to get where you have to go and to feel fulfilled and purposeful in that journey if you are averse to duty and obligation. Fact. If you can't commit, you should quit. If you can't commit, you should quit. This is about commitment, not bad commitments. This is what I mean. This is why if your affirmative prayer is right, you're making good commitments. I want to commit myself to more happiness, more joy, less pain, more of a feeling of contentment. I want to commit to the things that lead to that. I don't want to commit to things that take me further away from it, right? So, and doing nothing is reverse. There's entropy in life, and doing nothing is reverse. There's no way you can stay in neutral. You know, the nuns taught me this, that you're either going forward or backward. So the thing is, this is the same thing in this. There is no neutral gets you to go backward. So these two things are super, 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 super important. So if you can do this, if you can keep your positive or affirmative prayers right and do them every single day, regardless of how you feel, regardless, because there are days you're going to be tired, you're going to be sick, you're going to be hungry, you're going to be unfocused, you're going to be thinking about other things. Don't give a crap. Just go in, do your affirmative prayer. Now that prayer is forever present in your day, if you see an energetic trail that leads you closer to the thing in there, you take it. You make the decision quick and you change it slow. And then through mind training and obligation, you train yourself to be both feet in, to stay both feet in, to choose doing over feeling in the short term. Because when we choose doing over feeling in the short term, the feeling turns better for the long term, because the feeling is contentment. And that's where that leads to. So you can get, this is a way to have your cake and eat it too by not having your cake right now. This is the same thing. So what is one of the things with the marshmallow test? The whole thing about it is delayed gratification. You show me someone that can put off their feelings in the sake of doing, and I'm going to show you someone who's going to get home. I'm also going to show you someone that's going to become the envy of other people, the target of other people, because this person is not going to quit. They're going to continue to go on and on and on and on. So for today, that is my message. I will see you guys next week at the same time. I'm super, super excited for what we got coming up. I got Taita this week, which is always, a crazy week. Taita, then Thea, and then Thea, and then I think we're booked the week after that too. We are busy, busy, busy. So thank you for your continued support. Get to Rythmia so this can happen, and the rest of the stuff that I talk about can make a lot more sense. All right. Thank you guys. Have a beautiful, wonderful, and sacred week. See you next.